Hello everyone, and welcome to a games news and thoughts video. So here I'll be sharing a bit about what I've been hearing with game news in the industry and sharing my thoughts on the topic. So for whoever's seen some of my recent videos, in particular I guess my update video, you guys know that I haven't been all too happy with Sony and many of their recent decisions. So I'll be going into more depth about that in this video. And yeah, to put it lightly, a game company hasn't pissed me off this fast and this much since Konami. So yeah, one of my friends, I was talking to one of my friends, and he asked me, okay, well, what's wrong? So I guess I'll list off the three biggest issues that I have in recent right now. And that would be, first off, is the whole PlayStation Network store. So for any of you guys who don't know, the PSN store for PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PSP, they're going to be closing this summer. So July 2nd for PS3 and PSP, and Vita is dying out in August. So that's inevitable. Like, it makes sense because they obviously don't want to have to keep those servers running, but the main issue is their handling on video game preservation. So that means that once these stores are gone, you're not going to be able to purchase unless you already have them purchased, you'll still be able to download old PS1 classics. But you're not going to be able to buy and download any more PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 classics, or whatever game and DLCs are on the network store for those respective consoles. And in the case of old PS1 classics, that's pretty much what a lot of people, including me, or classics in general, we're really bummed out about that, because we're gonna have a lot of younger gamers miss out on classic titles that have pretty much shaped the video game industry in that sense, and it's a real shame. Really, it's a real big shame. So that's pretty much that case there. With some of these topics that I talk about, I'll be leaving a link or links in the description towards Yong's channel, because that's how I learned about most of all of this news. So yeah, that's the case with the PlayStation Network store. And moving on to the next subject, which is a lot more of a bigger one, and it's more of a long-term issue, but it's a really big issue, and that is it's a design flaw with the PlayStation 4. So the problem here is there is this battery, this component, which from what I've been seeing is people have been calling it the clock battery death on the PlayStation 4, and another term was the PS4 CMOS battery. So essentially, to put it simply, this battery is what sort of links up your PlayStation 4's internal clock to Sony servers. And if it happens to go out, that means that you won't be able to play any digital or physical games, because you can't synchronize your trophies with the Sony servers. So that's a major problem, and some people have asked, well, can we replace the batteries? So the predicted lifespan for the battery is 10 to 20 years or so, but to replace the battery, that is possible, and like you could do it right like Actually, okay, maybe not right now or anything. Like, I'm not too sure on the details behind it. Just check out Yong's video for more details. However, I suppose let's just say you do decide to, in the future, I'll set up a hypothetical theory here. Let's just say in the future, the PS6 is coming out, and Sony decides to cut off any sort of service for the PS4. Okay, so let's just say your PS4 happens to kick the bucket or whatever. You want to get a replacement, or your battery's dead, and you're pretty much swapping it out here. You can swap the battery, but then there's the issue of the servers, the PlayStation 4 servers not being around for you to link up with the servers, because you at least have to link up with it once in order for it to function. So there's a major issue right there. So goodbye to any sort of like game console preservation for your PS4, which is kind of funny because you look at something like the N64, which to this day, if you happen to have one, you can still just hook it up and play it, right? Depending on how well you've been taking care of it. You can't do that with the PS4. The PS4 apparently just has a specific lifespan to it, and it's harder to sort of take care of, no thanks to this issue. So Sony's gonna have to figure out what the hell they want to do with this and really solve this issue, because this is not good. So that is one major issue that I've heard about recently, and oh man, I was not happy to hear that. Like, I always thought the PSN store issue was bad enough, and it's just been problem after problem after problem with Sony right now, which is what's really pissing me off. So there's that issue. Another issue is the Sony Japan studio is pretty much being disbanded. So you can say, this is also the reason why I'm playing Shadow of the Colossus. You can say goodbye to games like Shadow of the Colossus, any sort of like unique titles like it. So in this case, it's Shadow of the Colossus. If you've been around long enough, Ape Escape, Gravity Rush, if you've been paying attention in recent. Yeah, you could say goodbye to titles, unique titles like that. And I'll even leave another video link to a video, pretty much a video essay talking about how Gravity Rush was handled. It was pretty much left in the dust by Sony. And if we're talking about niche titles and Sony's lack of support for some of them, let's talk about the Vita here, because the Vita, there are still games coming out for the Vita, or at least were. All of these developers, indie developers, developing them because there is a niche market for the Vita. They weren't given any form of warning from Sony pulling the plug on the Vita store and etc. So that's a real big dick move, because a lot of these games got canceled and some of the developers are stressing and having to scramble towards making like Vita games before this summer. So yeah, what the fuck, Sony? Like, talk about being assholes, flat out. So yeah, again, a little sidetracked there, I think, or at least I'm losing my place. I'm trying to bounce back and forth between gameplay and my notes here. Yeah, okay, I'll skip that. Just so that we don't get any distractions, or at least I don't get distracted from my points. But yeah, so there's those two big issues, and then there is the well, actually 3 issues. I already marked those down. I can't count. So yeah, right, pretty much the bulk of this video is going to talk more about the Japan studio issue, because Japan studio, yeah, you're not going to get any more unique titles like Shadow of the Colossus and all this stuff, because Sony's reasoning behind it is they want to focus more on AAA blockbuster titles, so whatever the hell that means, it's relatively vague here, but in my eyes, excuse me, choking on my spit here. In my eyes, that sounds like, oh, we wanna follow trends and pretty much see what the hell is popular among the mainstream masses and whatnot. So that really does limit a lot of options for like smaller developers that Sony has, and they disbanded Japan Studios because they weren't making enough money. Yeah, no surprise there, right, guys? It's all about the fucking money, isn't it? So, yeah, they decided to disband those, pretty much the teams and reallocate them over to the US. And along with them, there are quite a few big names within like those teams that have helped father a lot of the big titles that revolutionized the industry, such as Keiichiro Toyama. So who the hell is that? That guy is the director to the original Silent Hill, and he did Gravity Rush. So he knew, I guess he knew what was coming because he jumped ship, so he left. There's a few other big names out there, which it escaped me at the moment. However, yeah, I really do worry as to like the direction that Sony is going in the future here, and that's why, like, if they don't get their shit together, I'm fucking leaving. Like, oh my god, jump, damn it. There we go. So yeah, that's why I might go into more like with PC games and with game preservation. Yeah, the solution that a lot of people have is using emulation and pirating games, and these companies don't like that, but they're the ones that are setting up the climate for it, so they don't have any right to fucking complain about that shit when they're pulling off stupid stuff like this. And I don't remember the name of the executive off the top of my head, but apparently he assumes within Sony, he assumes that like after seeing older games, starts questioning, like, man, who the hell would be playing this nowadays? There are quite a few people, and there's like, it's nostalgia factor, and also to sort of teach younger generations. So that's who to answer that question, that fucking stupid ass question. Yeah, I'm pissed, guys. So sorry if I'm being pretty vulgar here. I usually keep the swearing to a minimum, but I just can't help it right now. So yeah, video game preservation. Oh god, just repeating myself here, but okay, damn, I just freaking lost my train of thought. Come on, lift that leg. Lift, yeah. Shit. Yeah, I'm also pretty rusty. I haven't touched this game in... I don't even recall when I last picked it up. Probably when it came out. So I want to say that was like September, like 2019 or something like that. But oh yeah, right. So now I remember my train of thought. So one of the things that Sony wants to do here, to sort of stimulate a bit on the maybe PS5 library, is for a while there was some talks about whether they might try the try making a sequel for Days Gone. However, the issue behind that was, I guess, Days Gone, the sales didn't really live up to the standards that Sony wanted, so that's why that idea didn't quite take off. So to sort of substitute for that idea, what Sony planned was, okay, maybe I'm not gonna go for the sigil. Sorry, I was just thinking ahead here, guys, with the gameplay. So what they decided to do was, okay, maybe we'll try a Uncharted 1 remake. So that idea also got shot down. Why? Because apparently Uncharted 1 would be too expensive to remake with like some of the ideas that they had in mind. So, alright, so I guess that got shut down. And what did they decide to opt for instead here? They decided to remake The Last of Us 1. Who the fuck thought that this was a good idea? Like, seriously, The Last of Us 1 already has a PS4 remaster, so that there's absolutely no point for The Last of Us 1 to be remade. And The Last of Us 2 is also, like, it came out pretty recent, and then there is, I don't know, Last of Us 2 is, it's a contentious subject. Like, I played the original Last of Us. That's all I ever like touched base with the series. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. Like, the first game, yeah, it's a good game. Like, I enjoyed it for what it is. But the second game, given all the like all the drama, pretty much, yeah, it's just the fucking drama surrounding it. I'm not touching it with like a 10-meter pole. Like, seriously, that series is kind of like stigmatized for me right now. Like, I don't even want to talk about it or go near it. So, yeah, just to remake The Last of Us 1 is just a stupid idea that I think shouldn't happen. And the fact that they shut down, like, I didn't play Days Gone, but new IPs, essentially new IPs is what I'm sort of trying to advocate for here. And yes, now I remember my main train of thought, and it's towards innovation, because with all these cookie cutter games, and this is also the reason why remasters are, yeah, remasters and, oh shit, I done fucked up. But yeah, remasters and all this stuff, like, I'll admit I'm guilty of picking up Devil May Cry HD collection and all that stuff, but it's useful because they are helpful with video game preservation, as I'll be let's playing pretty much that series on the PS4, something like that. However, the reason why those exist is because they're trying to capitalize, these companies are trying to capitalize on nostalgia, essentially. And yeah, as great as nostalgia is, it's really killing innovation for new ideas and new IPs, which with Japan Studio, yeah, they're with them gone, we're not going to have any more unique titles like Shadow of the Colossus or any sort of what the hell did I, oh, okay, now I remember what I was trying to do with the Colossus here. Trying to get over to this sigil. Yeah, so lack of innovation. That is why we have all these remakes, because instead we're going after trends, we're going after cookie cutter big games like Call of Duty. Like, you guys know I'm gonna be bashing on this for a while. But not to say that if you enjoy it, don't let me stop you. Like, you're free to play whatever the fuck you want, but yeah, Call of Duty, you got all these FPS shooters, you got all these Fortnites or whatever, because everybody's just following trend after trend after trend. But nobody has the balls to pretty much try something new. Which is why you got gamers like me, who ramble on about them good old PS1 to PS2 days back when, yeah, there's a shit ton of PS2 games. Not all of them were good, but a lot of them were willing to experiment with ideas. So they at least had the courage and the ambition to try something new. Take Shadow of the Colossus here, for instance. This game came out in 2005. The climbing mechanics are pretty revolutionary for the game industry, because how many video game reviews have you guys seen where people have referenced, oh yeah, you can climb the giant ass monster or whatever and kill it, like in Shadow of the Colossus, right? Recent example that I have off the top of my head is Dragon's Dogma. Oh yeah, Dragon's Dogma. Man, that's a good game. I can't wait to let's play that. But I digress. Dragon's Dogma. You can climb and scale dragons and stab the ever-living shit out of them. So you wouldn't have games like that if it weren't for something like Shadow of the Colossus. So yeah, pretty much games in the industry right now are just rehashes almost, without any sort of like courage to try something new. And in the news video that I watched with Yong, he had a snippet from one of Sony's executives, Sean Layden, back in like a 2015 E3 presentation or something like that. And I'm roughly paraphrasing off the top of my head here, but he said it wasn't about a multi-million seller, but that wasn't the point. What is the point is about having games that are unafraid to go against the tide, that were courageous with like ambition to bring completely new experiences for gamers. So like check out Yong's video. It's in there. It's like at the end of like his video, a small little snippet. So I absolutely agree with that. And yeah, I guess yeah, I'm having a little bit of a nostalgic moment thinking about like old games like that are good, or at least that I found good, because I'll touch base with another subject there about like what do you define as a good game, because sometimes it's not about what everybody thinks is good, it's about what you think is good, because you also have to think about the time and money that you want to invest into games, right? So what are you willing to pay for, and what are you looking for in the games? Like, don't think about like, oh, what everybody thinks is good. You have to think about what you think is good too. Which is why I don't really trust reviews wholeheartedly. Like, I'll have to gauge with like my own views on it and whether it's worth my time and money, which brings me to the subject of Destiny and pretty much games like Destiny, and I guess in more recent Genshin Impact. So live service games, there's the term I'm looking for. So a lot of my friends ask me, oh, why don't you play Destiny? So the problem here is online only, and how you have to be connected to the internet to have to play it. In my case, if I buy a game, I spend 60 bucks. Well, 60 bucks for you guys in the States. I'm up in Canada, so that's 70 bucks up here. Oh, no, 80. Yeah, 80 bucks up here. Yeah, it's not cheap, so I would rather spend my money on a game once and not have to pay any more for it, pretty much. So that's also in the subject of microtransactions. God fucking microtransactions. So that's a certain aspect of it. The other aspect is more long-term thinking, because I really do try to think long-term with the games that I do buy and play, because I want to be able to, maybe years down the line, play the games again if I want to, right? And you can't really do that with live service games, because once their servers go down, well shit, you're tough out of luck. You can't boot up the game wherever you feel like it and play it. So there's the case as to why I don't play Destiny. So it's almost a little bit of a waste of time, because you can always remember back to those memories, but you can't really go back and just like sort of feel the nostalgia having to pick up the game and play it again. Which is why, yeah, for instance, with like me let's playing Metal Gear right here, right? I can boot up Metal Gear whenever the hell I want and pretty much play it, so long as my PS3 is still running and operational, of course. But if that kicks the bucket, well, oh shit, that's big trouble for me. I'm gonna have to go into emulation or piracy, because there's no PS4 remaster for it or anything like that. Yeah, this is why video game preservation is really damn fucking important. And I guess talking a little bit more about like unique games, like even if they don't necessarily take off, like I'll briefly talk a little bit more about Shadow of the Colossus here as an example, because the reason why this game really took off was, aside from like the unique gameplay, there was the environments. Because in game design, people talk about visual storytelling. Shadow of the Colossus is technically a sequel. Actually, no, it's a prequel to another Japan studio game called Ico. And before any of you guys decide to correct me and say it's pronounced Eco, well, I'm not going to say Eco because that's going to remind me of Jack and Daxter, so shut up. I don't give a crap. So yeah, like visual storytelling and all that stuff, they're like, keep in mind that sometimes games do have to have like artistic value to them as well, to really inspire and sort of captivate people. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's hard for me to wrap my head around how like we might not see games like this anymore. It's really sad. It's a real big shame. So yeah, third Colossus is right up there, but I don't know if I'm gonna go up there and fight it, because I'm hitting the 30-minute mark here. I don't want this video to drag on for too long, but yeah, it's not just Sony that I'm kind of pissed off with too. It's also Nintendo. They're doing a shit job with video game preservation as well. The most recent example is Mario All-Stars 3D. So for those of you who don't know, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy were packaged into a Switch cartridge, as well as on their digital store. However, at the end of March here, they stopped any production of physical copies, and they removed it from the digital store for no real rhyme or reason, just cuz. So a lot of people are wondering, what the fuck? I managed to buy a physical copy off Amazon just cuz. And then, yeah, so Nintendo's no better. I do have like a Wii and a Switch, obviously, but I guess okay, I was gonna briefly talk a little bit about Nintendo, because in their case, if we're talking about niche titles as well, the one major issue that I have with Nintendo is they don't really branch out for their main flagships, like Zelda or Mario or big names, right? So yeah, sure, their big names are popular, but there aren't too many niche titles that they have, which is why, like, or at least like titles that branch out from their main franchises, which is why it was a big breath of fresh air when Astro Chain came out, because oh man, I freaking loved Astro Chain. That was a brilliant game. So the only other series that I could think of that I sort of liked on Nintendo was No More Heroes, and I'm kind of waiting for the third game to come out, so God knows when that's coming out. So that's pretty much my opinion on Nintendo as well. The only company that's sort of been paying attention to game preservation is Microsoft here, trying to expand on their original Xbox titles. So yeah, those are my thoughts on like the recent climate with like the game industry. And if Sony is not gonna pull this shit together, like, fuck them. I'm moving on to maybe PC gaming if I have to, but I'll probably buy a used PS5 or some shit like that if I want to pick up an exclusive. So I don't know, guys. Those are my thoughts. I'll probably be doing news and thoughts videos like this in the future on the offhand, because that's not to say I'm stopping Let's Plays. Like, I'll move on with the Metal Gear Let's Play here. This weekend was sort of an experiment with the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer video that I have, which surprisingly 2 people commented on. I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh wow, this is just a test video. I wasn't expecting somebody to talk and say, oh hey, you got good gameplay. Well, thanks for the support, guys. Yeah, yeah, it's a bit of an experiment with multiplayer. And yeah, that's it. That's it for now. So I'll catch you guys all later with the Metal Gear Let's Play. So see yas.